Hey everybody, it's X and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I will be playing another Chromatic Cube draft. Without further ado, let's just jump into this. There is one card in here that I've been very impressed by that is also just a ridiculously good card in Constructed. That card is the Meat Hook Massacre. There aren't a ton of Wraths in this cube, and this is one of the better ones. It's -X/-X, so we'll get rid of indestructible stuff. It's going to gain you a bunch of life when you cast it, and potentially make your opponent lose some life as well, and then it will leave behind the ability to keep gaining you life or making your opponent lose life, since it is an enchantment sticking on the board after you cast it as the Wrath effect. So Meat Hook Massacre's just been a pretty busted card. There's nothing else super strong in here. Everything else is kind of for a specific strategy where it's pretty good. Liar is just a pretty great card just at face value if we want to just take a solid white card. But I think Meat Hook Massacre is the most powerful and kind of irreplaceable effect in this pack. Pack 2 now, what do we have here? Got Xanathar Guild Kingpin, which can be a lot of fun, potentially casting cards out of your opponent's library, but it is a slow card. It's a 6 mana 5/6 that doesn't do anything until it's survived on the board for a turn. Other than that, there's Regal Caracol, which is one of those nice enter the battlefield effects to keep blinking and flickering and recasting. The Reality Chip can be some powerful card draw if you can get it going, but it's a little hard to get it going. Young Pyromancer is great in a deck with a lot of instants and sorceries. Immortal Sun's pretty solid if you don't have any Planeswalkers. It's going to let you draw an extra card every turn, make all your spells cheaper and all your creatures bigger. Lysa seems pretty strong too, though. 5 mana for a 4/5 flying lifelink, and whenever a non-token creature you control dies, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step, and when your opponent's creatures die, you exile them. Could see going down like a white-black deck here. Seems like a pretty strong card. I'm going to go with Lysa here. Seems pretty great. Alright. Pack 1, pick 3. Unnatural Growth is definitely quite powerful, but you gotta be real heavy into green for that. Agonizing Remorse plays pretty well. Most discard effects are pretty bad in Limited or in Cube, but with this one, it gets rid of all the restrictions that make them bad, like Duress and stuff that can't discard creatures. This can get literally anything but a land out of your opponent's hand, and it'll exile it, so even if it has flashback or something, you're getting it out of the way. So that's pretty nice. Obnixilus is obviously pretty powerful, but you have to be a little bit of a specific deck there. You want to have a lot of cheap creatures to casualty for this card. There aren't a whole ton of great cheap creatures in the cube, so it can be a little difficult to pull off. Yeah, everything else in this pack is like really specific. Agonizing Remorse can kind of fit into anything, but everything else is like a token deck, a spells deck, a sacrifice deck, a deck that wants 9 drops, a deck that wants a 7 drop that's super hard to cast. Yeah, Agonizing Remorse is definitely the most open card, I think, out of that pack, and I'll take it for that reason. Pack 1, pick 4, we see Robber of the Rich still in here for that black-red kind of deck. This card is definitely very powerful. There aren't a lot of great 2-mana creatures to play alongside it, but it is probably the best one in the cube, potentially keeping your hand full as long as you have less cards in hand than opponent. Jadar's pretty nice as well, though. Really good with sacrifice outlets if you go for the sacrifice sort of strategy. And Professional Facebreaker's pretty powerful as well, potentially giving you treasure tokens and using those treasure tokens to cast more spells off the top of your library. There's also Shark Typhoon, which is pretty bonkers. This card was an all-star in Standard for quite some time. Even in Historic, it saw some play. Really nice cycling effect on this. Instant speed, uncounterable, get a flying shark and draw a card. Or alternatively, really late in the game, you can just cast this and start getting a bunch of sharks. I'm going to take Shark Typhoon here. Maybe we get to push into blue-black. Shark Typhoon is just a really good card. Oh, and we see a Blood Artist, but we also see a Hostage Taker. Wow, there's a lot of ways we could go with this draft pod. Kind of just the Grixis ways. Would have been happy to be in like black sacrifice stuff with Blood Artist and Jadar had I taken Jadar last pack, but since I took Shark Typhoon last pack, I'm not unhappy taking a Hostage Taker. This is going to remove our opponent's best creature or artifact, and then it will let us cast it against them as long as the Hostage Taker hasn't been killed. So very good card. We'll slap that in here. Now we have Gaunty, Lord of Luxury, Baral's Expertise, Wandering Emperor off color being quite powerful. Murmuring Mystic is good too, but more specific than the other two. It's going to be between Gaunty and Baral's Expertise here, and Gaunty's the more fun card. I'm going to take Gaunty here, but I'm not exactly sure if it's right. Baral's Expertise is incredibly mana efficient at slowing your opponent down. It's going to put 3 of their creatures back into their hands to really slow them down for 5 mana, and it'll let you cast something that costs 4 or less for free, which gives you kind of a mana rebate on what you paid up front for this card. So it's a very, very good way to slow down your opponent and keep things under control. That being said, Gaunty's just super fun. Casting your opponent's cards against them kind of never gets old, and that's kind of the blue-black deck we're going for here. Hostage Taker Gaunty. Cast our opponent's spells against them. I would go for a Callous Blood Mage here just because there's not a lot of cheap cards we can play around with. Jinji's probably a little stronger, but I think we'll have less trouble filling out the 5 mana and up slot. Blood Mage is just like fine. Pretty good if we get it paired against aggro. 3 mana, get a 2/1 and a 1/1 pest. Kite Sail Freebooters, okay. The Henrika Domnathi is quite good. Little early to worry too hard about mana costs, and I think Henrika Domnathi is a lot more powerful than Kite Sail Freebooter, although maybe I just undervalue that card. Ottawara is quite nice as well, because it's the only card that you are just 100% going to play, because it's just strictly better than running a 6th island or something. So this is a card you're absolutely at no risk of cutting, so it's always value for your deck, whereas either of these 2 cards, maybe we get enough cards that are similar to them that we end up cutting them out of our deck as our 24th or 25th best card. You're never at that risk with lands, which is why it's kind of nice to take lands highly, but not going to there. I do really like Henrika Domnathi. Now it's just Cavalier of Gales, I suppose. We try to splash in a Lord Xander, but I've never been all that excited about Lord Xander. I've literally never cast one in my life, just because up front it looks like such an unexciting card to me. Yeah, it is a huge enter the battlefield effect, and it's a huge attack effect, and it's a huge die trigger, but I really don't like the 7 mana 6/6 on the ground, no evasion, no protection stat line. So yeah, we wheel the Xanathar Guild Kingpin, which means we get to just full on go into the blue-black play your opponent's deck against them deck, so let's go for it. It might even be a better pick to just take Forsworn Paladin though, because that actually gives us something to do early in the game. Give us those treasure tokens to get into our bigger plays earlier. But whatever. Xanathar is bigger and splashier. We're doing fun things in the Chromatic Cube. It's not particularly competitive. Wheel all the sacrifice stuff like Ravenous Squirrel, Obnixlos. Guess I'll take Obnix.
I'm not afraid of any.
Wow, Robber of the Rich, Professional Facebreaker, Jadar, and Gyruda. Wow. We could play a Gyruda companion deck here. Have our deck contain only even mana values, and this goes into our commander slot. Currently, we only have 1 odd mana cost. No, we have 2. We have Callous Blood Mage, we have Cavalier of Gales. Wheel the Bloodars. Wow, we wheeled Jadar and Blood Artist. I could have taken Jadar instead. I'm going to take Blood Artist here. Give us a nice early game card that like trades off and drains for a little bit of life. Davriel's probably a pretty good card too, but it's one of those cards that I'm like, there's just so much going on with it. It's kind of hard to evaluate. I don't love the random factor of the -2 ability. Anyways, yeah, I'm kind of excited to try to do a Gyruda deck here. Take all even mana costs, and then we know that on turn, I guess not necessarily turn 6, because we might have spent every other turn actually casting a spell, but turn 6 or turn 7 or something, we'll always get to cast Gyruda, which is huge whenever your creature in your deck has an even mana value. You know you're going to get a creature back from at least yourself most of the time. So here's a really easy Ravenous Chupacabra. It's an even mana value for a Gyruda, and it's just a really good deal. 4 mana to get a 2/2 on the board that also destroys an opposing creature. Another card that's incredible with flicker effects and bounce effects and stuff. There's a couple of those in mono blue. Most of them are in blue-white though, so that probably won't happen too much. Possible we pick up a Yarok here, splash that in. Yarok is blue, black, green, and 2, I believe, for a 3/5 Death Touch lifelink, and you double all of your enter the battlefield triggers. So Ravenous Chupacabra, Gaunty, Shark Tiffin, Hostage Taker, Gyruda, lots of great stuff when it comes to enter the battlefield triggers going on in this deck right now. We do see that Yarok. Can we? Oh, Yarok's an odd mana cost. We can't play Yarok and Gyruda. Bit sad. Gyruda's way more consistent because we can put Gyruda in the command slot. In the companion slot, I should say. I guess the only even cost here would be Suspicious Stowaway, which would be solid. A solid little 2-drop creature because you don't get a lot of those. Let this start getting in, drawing and discarding cards, looting. Sanders Lounge would be solid for our deck. Blue-black dual because we don't have any mana fixing yet. Or Temple of the Dragon Queen. Yeah, I want to stick to the Gyruda companion thing over the Yarok. Let's go for Suspicious Stowaway here. Okay, so I know we don't get to play Slumgar's command and have Gyruda as the companion. Do we get Tybalt? I think we get Tybalt. Because the mana value is 2 on the front half, and that's the half that matters towards companion, right? So we can splash in a Tybalt, and Tybalt's an incredibly powerful card. I guess we'll figure it out here, because there's like nothing else in this pack we could play except maybe a Reckoner Bankbuster, which is an okay little card draw spell. Tybalt's definitely way better if it lets us play Tybalt in our deck with Gyruda as a companion, which I think it should, because the front half is even. Plus, sometimes we might just cast Valky. I like our curve here. It's about as good as it could be for even mana costs only. Big chunk of 2s, bit less 4s, bit less 6s. Now it's all odd again, except for Karn's Temporal Sundering, which is powerful if you can cast it. It can be a little difficult to cast it because you need a legendary on board. But with a companion, you can get a legendary out more consistently than usual. You need a legendary permanent, legendary creature, planeswalker, so Meathook Masquerade doesn't count. That would make it really easy. We've got Xanathar, Gyruda, Henrika Domnathi, Gaunty, Valky, or Tybalt. Yeah, we could be casting Karn's Temporal Sundering. It's a very powerful card. Bounce one of your opponent's cards and take an extra turn. Kindred Denial is the only even cost here, so that is what we're going to take. If we weren't under that restriction, we'd be taking Murderous Rider here. I like this card a lot. A removal spell and a lifelinking creature all in one thanks to the adventure. Kindred Denial is a pretty fun card though too. Counter an opposing spell, then seek a card with the same mana value as that spell from your deck. And because this is a 4-mana counter spell, by the time you're actually casting this to counter something, you're probably countering something that costs 4, 5, 6, something like that. So you're getting a big, powerful card from your deck off the card draw. Take the blue-black dual land here. Crux of Fate is a good card, but it is odd. Alright, we're picking up some sweet mana fixing now. Drowned Catacomb and Shipwreck Marsh, 2 of my favorite duels in this cube. I like the check lands and 2-color decks a lot because you're always going to have an Island or Swamp on board, and then I like the slow lands as well. So you just sequence your lands well to get these to be untapped pretty much always. Not a lot of cube decks are going to be running decks that are okay with having only like 2 lands. This is all odd. Actually, Tezzeret's Gambit Tezzeret's Gambit is even because of the Phyrexian mana symbol. That's 4 mana value, even though we usually just cast it for 3 and pay 2 life to draw 2 and proliferate. Yeah, come on in. Come on in, Tezzeret's Gambit. That's actually really interesting in our deck because that gives us a way to use all of our mana on turn 3. Like we can play a 2-drop on turn 2, like one of these creatures, and then on turn 3 we just pay 2 life and spend 3 on Tezzeret's Gambit, and then on turn 4 we play a 4-drop, and it's like we actually curved out like a normal deck, even though we only have even mana costs. Now we do want to the absolute best of our ability, I'm going to start taking cards like Yarok just in case. Because Yarok would be good if we don't do the Gyruda companion thing. And then Slumgar's Command would be good. So would Lear. I feel like Slumgar's Command better. Actually, probably Reckoner Bankbuster here. The reason is I was going to say, because of our even mana restriction, we really need to make sure to take a mountain of 2 mana cards, because we know that on turn 2 and turn 3 all we can do is cast a 2-drop, so we need enough 2 mana cards in this deck that it's the equivalent of the amount of 2 and 3 mana cards you would have in any other deck. Now, having a companion, you do get something to do on turn 3 as a backup plan. You can always just put Gyruda in hand on turn 3. So it's not the biggest deal in the universe, and this cube is slower than normal. But it's always good to have the option where it's not just that all I can do is put my companion into hand on turn 3. So what are our options out of this pack? We have Massacre Worm, which is obviously pretty huge. It's going to wipe a lot of the board and do a lot of damage to your opponent. We have Dreadhorde Invasion, which is a 2-drop, which is important. It's not super exciting unless you have good sacrifice synergies. Then you have Into the Royal, which is pretty solid interaction. I think we just take Massacre Worm here. It's a big bomb. It's a very impactful play. We hope to wheel Into the Royal or Dreadhorde Invasion, which are both just fine in our deck. I think Massacre Worm looks just very good. We have Hidetsugu, Devouring Chaos, which in our deck is mainly just a 4-mana 4/4. Or we have Saiba Siphoner, 4 mana for 2/2 with Flash. Costs 2 less if there's no instant sorceries in hand. When it enters battlefield, return an instant sorcery from your graveyard to hand. If you die, shuffle into the library. That seems pretty good. It's pretty interesting. Pretty good. We've only got 4 instants and sorceries though, but does seem solid if we pick up like more of them. Whereas Hidetsugu is like, I mean, maybe we're scrying or something. Oh, Thief of Sanity. We got the Thief of Sanity, but we're going for even mana costs here. We can go for Price of Fame, Inscription of Insight, or the Black-Red Duel to help cast Tybalt. What's our removal looking like? Chupacabra, Hostage Taker, Massacre Worm a little bit, Meat Hook Massacre a little bit. We don't have a ton of removal here. I like Price of Fame. Tybalt could just be hard to cast, I guess. I like that better than Inscription of Insight. It's a card I have cast a lot in cubes, and it's always just been whatever. It's been okay. But I have quite liked Price of Fame. A couple odd costs, and then we have a Yawgmoth, Thran Physician, or Chart a Course. Yawgmoth is very good with like Blood Artist. But now we don't have any token production because we didn't take that that God Pharaoh thing, the Rise of the God Pharaoh's Army or whatever. It's definitely not the name of it. The 2-mana thing that keeps spitting out a 1/1. But we might be able to wheel that, and if we do, Yawgmoth is going to be incredibly powerful. It's a sacrifice outlet you don't even have to spend mana on to draw a card, put a -1/-1 counter on something. It's just like super good. Now we get to take a Haunted Ridge to help cast Tybalt or Blood for Bones, which would be fine here. But I think Haunted Ridge would be better. Also Chainer, which is interesting. But yeah, let's just get some Tybalt mana fixing. Now we have more Tybalt mana fixing, a blue-red land here, or we have Atris, Oracle of Half-Truths, which is really fun, or we have Commence the Endgame, which is pretty expensive card draw, but it also spits out a big dork. I like Atris the best here. It's a fun card, no matter what, and it's always decent value. You're always drawing like at least one card off of it. Your opponent is splitting the top 3 cards of your library into 2 piles. One of them face down and one face up, and you have to decide which pile you think is better. So it's always a fun little mind game. I like Null Priest of Oblivion a lot here because it's both a 2-drop and a 6-drop for our deck. I don't know if that flexibility is worth taking it over Nightmare Shepherd, because this is a very powerful effect, but I feel like it might be. So I'm going to take that over Nightmare Shepherd. Nightmare Shepherd's just ridiculous if it isn't immediately dealt with. If you deal with the Nightmare Shepherd, your opponent doesn't get anything, but if all you can do is trade off into their other creatures, and their other creatures just come back as little 1/1 copies and get their enter the battlefield effects again, it's pretty insane. Alright, we wield the Dreadhorde Invasion for the Yawgmoth. Take that breeding pool in case I change my mind and put in odd costs and put Yarok in here. Probably won't happen though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these cards are lands. That's 23 non-land cards. We're actually just... It's perfect. It's a deck. We don't have to make any changes because we drafted such a restrictive deck. That's just... Every card we took kind of just has to go in. This deck looks fun. I'm excited. I really like drafting around the companions. It's always fun. Gives you a very unique deck every time. We can play a Chart, of course. I actually might have to play a Chart, of course, because I didn't take into account the companion going into the companion zone. We wield the Blood for Bones, which is actually interesting. We might play that here. Right, because you sacrifice a creature. So usually you would just sacrifice a creature that already kind of got its enter the battlefield value out, like something like a Gonti or something, and then you just return your best creature from grave and return another one to your hand. Oh, we actually did get a couple options here, so we get to choose 1 or 2 cards to cut in the end. Yeah, Blood for Bones is actually kind of interesting. Probably won't play it here. I don't think we have anything great to reanimate, but I do like getting ETB triggers. Alright, so here's our deck sorted by cost, although I suppose Tezzeret's Gambit we get to treat as a 3-drop, which is kind of interesting. I don't think Tezzeret's Gambit looks particularly good in this deck. We don't have really anything to proliferate except maybe Yawgmoth -1/-1 counters, which is going to be a rarity. Maybe Tybalt counters, which will also be very rare. So I don't love Tezzeret's Gambit in here. It's kind of just the worst divination. 3 mana to draw 2 cards, but we have to pay 2 life to do it. Does not seem great. Sure, I like the flexibility of having something we can actually play on turn 3, but we could just play a 2-drop on turn 3 or put a Gyruda in hand instead. And then that evens out our curve, because then turn 4 we play a 4 mana card. Turn 5 we just play another 4 mana card. I mean, we've got plenty of them. So, yeah, not actually that worried about needing a 3-drop, so I don't love Tezzeret's Gambit in here. Probably one of the 2 cuts. Other than that, Blood for Bones, sure we can get another enter the battlefield effect or something out of our grave, but don't have anything like massive to reanimate or any synergies that are going to be self-milling to make sure that we're fueled for this card, so sometimes there'll just be a dead card in our hand that doesn't do anything, and... yeah, I mean, it's like fine value, but it is quite a bit of mana. Don't love that. I actually don't love Yawgmoth in here either. We don't have a lot of expendable creatures. Like, we have the Dreadhorde Invasion, but it's kind of it. Maybe Xanathar. Xanathar is one of the weakest cards in our deck. We kind of just took it because it wheeled. Again, this has all the issues that I was talking about earlier, where you're spending 6 mana for a 5/6 that has no way to protect itself, it has no evasion of any kind, and it's not going to do anything until your next upkeep. So it's very, very weak to removal, and even if they don't remove it, you do need to hit some good stuff out of their deck for it to be worth the cost. But we don't have a massive amount of 6 mana stuff going on, so I'm kind of okay just leaving Xanathar in, even though it's probably one of the weakest cards in the deck. I think it's between these 3. Cut 2 of these 3. 13 creatures, 12 non-creatures. Don't even have a super high creature count for Blood for Bones. to consistently have creatures in the grave or on board for it. Definitely going to cut Tezzeret's Gambit, I think. Oh, Worst Divination seems pretty bad in here. We actually can treat Tybalt as a 7-drop. Yeah, I don't think Blood for Bones is going to cut it. Yawgmoth might not either, but at least Yawgmoth's a 4-mana 2/4. Yawgmoth always does something. Even if Yawgmoth doesn't do anything insane, we can still just drop Yawgmoth on the board and get blocking and all of that. Yeah, so pretty non-creature heavy here, but a lot of our non-creatures are just creatures like Shark Typhoon. Dreadhorde Invasion, Bankbuster to an extent. Looks like a fun deck. Is our mana all good? 15 black, 10 blue. Currently we have one more black source than blue source because of Haunted Ridge, which is probably fine because it's a pretty high number of both. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 straight up black sources and 9 straight up blue sources, as well as one that can fetch either. Maybe cut an island for a mountain here for Tybalt to actually have at least 2 sources in the deck. We have Haunted Ridge and then we have a mountain. Then actually up it to 3. We have a mountain, a Haunted Ridge, and a Fabled Passage that we will try to just grab a mountain with most of the time. So we can consistently cast Tybalt Cosmic Imposter. Probably like the strongest card in the deck. Just a ridiculous 7-mana Planeswalker. Yeah, I like cutting an island for a mountain and calling it a day mana-wise. Oh, we have a Sokenzen that we got like last pick. If this was a legendary land dash mountain, I would run that in here, but it's not, so I'm just not going to play it. I guess we could up our red sources by 1, but I don't think that's worth it. Sokenzen's not the most powerful of the discard lands. Alright, here we are with the final deck we'll be playing today. This is a deck focused on even mana costs thanks to the companion Gyruda, Doom of Depths. We've got a lot of powerful enter the battlefield triggers to have a lot of creatures that just come into play as at least a 2-for-1 with Hostage Taker, stealing an opposing creature for us to cast for ourselves, Ravenous Chupacabra destroying an opposing creature, Gonti stealing a card out of their deck. Even cards like Saiba Siphoner are powerful. 2-for-1 enter the battlefield effects, returning an instant or sorcery from our grave to hand. We have Massacre Worm, probably being a 2-for-1 if it kills at least one opposing creature. A lot of stuff like that where we're trying to just grind out some incremental value throughout the game. That being said, there are 2-for-1s galore in this cube. It feels like almost everything is a 2-for-1. So it does feel like often in games neither player is gonna like come out massively ahead in card advantage unless they get something ridiculous out. Both players are going to have a lot of 2-for-1s like that. So that general game plan might not be enough all of the time. So we do have some powerful cards that are going to be much bigger than a 2-for-1. Obviously, Gyruda themselves is going to put a ton of ridiculous power toughness on the board, potentially getting a creature from both graveyards to the battlefield onto our board. We have the massively explosive Tybalt Cosmic Imposter that can win games. That thing is just nuts. Karn's Temporal Sundering is insane as well. Bounce their biggest card and then take an extra turn after this one. We can only cast this with a legendary on board, but this cube is pretty full of legendaries. We have Tybalt, Xanathar, Atris, Yawgmoth, Henrika Domnathi, Gonti, Lord of Luxury, and Gyruda to help us cast Karn's Temporal Sundering. We've also got the interaction you want, some removal, some counter spells, a little bit of card draw, that kind of stuff. And our other biggest bomb is probably the Meat Hook Massacre. Wrath effects are quite powerful in this cube because the board states get really big, really insane, really quickly. So being able to just clear that all out of here and try to establish a new board where you are in the lead is a pretty powerful effect. So it should be a pretty fun deck to play around with. I'm very excited. I always love building around the companions. It's a pretty fun time. They always make your decks pretty weird, like this one where it's all even costs. So yeah, we'll see how it goes as we head into round 1. Right, opponent is on the play here. We've got a Bankbuster on 2, then we can draw a card off of it or put Gyruda in hand. Both of our main colors. We've got the double black for our 4 drops of Henrika Domnathi and Yawgmoth. Should be pretty good. See how things go here. Opponent starts with a Plains. Got a Fetid Pools. Now we can play that turn 3 and still use the Bank Buster. Make the most of our mana there. Paulo Vitor Damo de Rosa from our opponent, going to make one of our cards in hand get exiled and cost 2 more to cast it. Paulo made a very annoying card. It's all 4 drops in hand, so whatever they take. It's not the biggest deal, we can just play something else. Turn 4. Ooh, drawn to a Xanathar. Could be our turn 6 play. Each player sacks a creature, draw a card, lose life, transform. Henrika. Trying to see what I want to do turn 4. They play a Woe Strider here. Gonti seems fine. Yeah, nothing here seems like the very best play, nothing super powerful, everything seems kind of just fine. So I just like kind of dropping down Gonti and getting more options based on what they have in their deck. Kind of like taking Esper Sentinel, since it's a 1-mana card to play. So that next turn we play a 4-drop and the Esper Sentinel. Yeah, I'm interested in that. Now next turn we could play like this Esper Sentinel and Yawgmoth in the same turn and sacrifice the Esper Sentinel to Yawgmoth's ability to put a -1/-1 counter on Elite Spellbinder to kill that and draw a card. Seems like a pretty good turn. Potentially ahead of us there. Take the trade with this Woe Strider. We're going to give the Woe Strider Indestructible, which even beats Death Touch. No Priest of Oblivion as the draw. That'll be good to Gonti again. That'll be fun. Are we on Esper Sentinel Yawgmoth as the play? Probably, but then we are going to get hit for 3 in the sky. A little painful. We can use Yawgmoth's ability at instant speed, so we may as well wait to do that until next turn. That way we can crew Reckoner Bankbuster before blocks if we want, or maybe our opponent will cast a non-creature spell before combat and let us draw a card off the Esper Sentinel. Did cast a non-creature spell. Are they going to pay for it? They are going to pay for it, okay. So we'll have to use the Yawgmoth here in response to this, but first we will crew the Bankbuster. So we know we still have a blocker on the ground for Woe Strider. And then we will kill the Elite Spellbinder. So we know we're not taking that damage. Actually, it might have been better to sacrifice the Bankbuster, because it's going to be a while before I have the excess mana to pay into it to draw more cards. But I guess Bankbuster is blocking this turn. Stopping 3 damage. Yeah, I like our line. I think our line was fine. Take 3 from this Kyodai. Okay, 6 mana now. We get to drop Hostage Taker, Xanathar, or we get to play Blood Artist, 3 Weird Sisters. Or Null Priest of Oblivion kicked to bring Gonti back out. I like Hostage Taker. I don't want to keep taking damage in the sky. I'm at 10 here. Hoping for no removal from them, but they probably have more. They're white-black, so I'd assume they're chocked full of it. No, they're going to sacrifice Kyodai. Alright, it's dealt with then. I was going to say, if they don't sacrifice Kyodai to Woe Strider, then that's pretty clearly telegraphing that they just have a removal spell in hand to blow up the hostage taker, get the Kyodai back. Luckily for us, that is not the case. Things are relatively stable here, but our opponent gets to cast their first spell on this board state, and it's an incredibly massive one that's almost impossible to deal with. Every time you kill God Eternal Oketra, she just goes back into the library third from the top. So even if we can get rid of her, which is difficult, still have to deal with her again later. So 6 mana still. We would need 8 mana to Meat Hook Massacre her away. Play the 3 Weird Sisters and Blood Artist here. Oh. Don't know what I'm doing. There's some good stuff in Graves for Garuda, except Garuda only hits the 4 that it mills, right? It doesn't get anything else. Each player mills 4, put a creature with an even mana from among the milled cards. So Garuda is going to be random. Regardless. I kind of like the 3 Weird Sisters and Blood Artist just to set up a Blood Artist before I Meat Hook Massacre so I could gain even more life off of it. But then I'm just chumping with Blood Artist anyway. I'm going to go Null Priest here and we can chump with Null Priest then. I guess we could also just Hostage Taker and that'll put God Eternal Oketra third from the top. Instead of going for Gonsi. Yeah, no, that's the safest play. She does go third from the top, we can't cast her. But keeps her away for a while. Do I want to attack here with Bankbuster? No. I'm at 10, they're at 20. I do want to kill that goat, because if I kill that goat, then the 3 Weird Sisters makes them sacrifice something important. But I mean, I guess in black-white they don't have haste. Yeah, I guess I should have attacked with Bankbuster. Because maybe it kills the goat. I guess even if it does kill the goat, they have the graveyard to slap the Woe Strider out soon. Ooh, Lisa. Lisa. Whatever her name is. We need 1 more mana to Meat Hook Massacre. We do not have 1 more mana, but Commence the Endgame will be big here. So what are we on now? Attack both, see if we can kill the goat. But we can't play the 3 Weird Sisters. She's not going to make them sacrifice a creature until combat during our turn, so we would need to kill pre-combat, which is not possible. Yeah, we were punished pretty hard for not killing the goat last turn, or not trying to kill the goat. They could very well just not block. I guess we could just be on Commence the Endgame here. I'm doing it main phase so I can play the land this turn and play a land next turn for a bigger Meat Hook Massacre. But we're going to take 4 in the sky. Trade Null Priest of Oblivion for a goat. Yeah, I mean I gain 2 life in the process instead of 1 when it dies later to Meat Hook Massacre. There's Meat Hook Massacre. Oh, we wouldn't gain any life from Meat Hook Massacre on it later. So yeah, I'm happy to just gain 1 off of it right there. Regal Caracal. Not good. Not good, not good, not good. That's just going to go back into their hand with Lysa. Incredibly not good. Ooh, Tybalt mana, let's go. That's pretty cool. 3 Weird Sisters chump. Wait for God Eternal Oketra to happen. 8 mana. 6 on a Meat Hook Massacre. No, I'm gonna go for just a big life gain and get rid of literally everything next turn. Okay, I'm setting up for a super large amount of life gain here because we're gonna gain 6 off this zombie attacking with power 6 or greater. And then when we go for the Meat Hook Massacre, we're going to drain for every creature we have that dies. I feel like this is probably our best line. It could be wrong, though. Because, yeah, Lisa's going to let them recast Caracol. Or at least have Caracol in hand for after the Meat Hook Massacre. I really don't know here. These Chromatic Cube games can get so complex. Like I could have just dumped out a Meat Hook Massacre, but like now at least I'm just gaining life off this giant zombie. I guess I could Meat Hook Massacre for... How much toughness does... Oh, Catcher's got 6, but our zombie will be a 7/7 soon. You know, maybe. Maybe we get to Meat Hook Massacre and keep our 7/7 lifelink zombie. Oh my god, Massacre Worm? And then a Massacre Worm when we cast a Meat Hook Massacre is going to be even more damage? Actually, the Massacre Worm's going to die at the same time as their stuff, so I don't know if that'll work. But, I mean, this kills all the cats. So I think we just cast this right now, and I'm still holding off on Meat Hook Massacre until they actually cast Oketra. Woo! Oh my god, okay. That's a lot of triggers. That's a lot of stuff on the stack. Oh my god, that's a lot of life loss. Is Meat Hook Massacre for 1 just lethal? I don't think so. Each player sacks a creature. What if we go for that here? And just get rid of this Hostage Taker that isn't doing anything. They get rid of the Caracol. Sure, they put it back in a hand, but now they lose 3. Blood Artist and Massacre Worm. And then we hit hard, gain a bunch. Oh my god. We might not even need the Meat Hook Massacre. Massacre Worm, Blood Artist together. Insane. Elspeth Conquers Death is the play here. Get rid of the Massacre Worm, I suppose. Yeah. Gain 4, then they're going to take 8. No, just saving Lysa back for chump blocks. No, just keep doing our thing then. We'll just play Gyruda. Don't need to play our Wraths. We're on the offensive now. Only hit a Charming Prince, but you know what Charming Prince can do? Flicker Gyruda. Alright. Crew 3. I'd have to tap Fiends of Darkest Night. That's not worth it. Buff them both. Hit for a ton. Lysa's gone. They're at 3. We drain for life, and then we get Gyruda. We hit an Atris and Captain Eberhart. And Cathar Commando, actually. Go Cathar Commando. Wait, why couldn't we do Atris? A creature. Okay, we had to choose from somebody. We should have just played our Atris. I didn't know where to click to get to Argrave. Although we are getting milled a bit here. We're down to 10 cards in library, so maybe not Atris. Atris would mill us 3 more. I don't know. Cathar Commando's fine here. We can use Cathar Commando to blow up, touch the Spirit Realm, and get Yawgmoth back. To sack 2 things and win out of nowhere if they put any life gain on the stack. Yep, that's some life gain. So let's just blow up, touch the Spirit Realm, do 1 with Blood Artist, and then sack anything and do 1 more. so we don't have to go into combat, so we know we don't have to do the math of if they gain any more life. Cool. 1-0. That was a really swingy game. I feel like we were in a really bad position when we knew that God Eternal Oketra was coming out, but the Blood Artist Massacre Worm was a huge life total swing. Lysa as well, the big life linker from our opponent. Even Dreadhorde Invasion really put in work. When we had Dreadhorde Invasion alongside the Commence the End game, putting out just already a 6/6 zombie, that was a really good combo in the deck that I didn't even notice earlier when we built the deck, is that if we make a massive zombie army off Commence the End game, and then we draw Dreadhorde Invasion or play Dreadhorde Invasion later, it'll just immediately be attacking with lifelink, and that really got us back in the game after starting at a pretty low life total. So 1-0 there, really nice stuff from the deck. All right, here we are in game 2. Awkward mana for sure. We don't want to hit both of our red sources, but we're only 1 black source away from being able to cast most of the hand, everything but Xanathar, because Shark Typhoon, we just cycle it. So I'm going to keep it, even though we're on the play here. I don't love that. I'm just going to play Haunted Ridge turn 1, because it's not like I have 1 drops in this deck anyway. 3-Bin Inspector, uh-oh. Not what we want to see. We do not want to see an opponent that has 1 mana cards in their deck, and there's our second black source. Fetid Pools off the top, very nice. Yeah, especially not with this hand. This is a very slow hand, and we're against Boros, which has been the most aggressive decks that we've fought against. So that could be a big problem. They didn't have a turn 2 play, though, and we drew into Meathook Massacre, which is probably our best draw in this sort of matchup. Gyruda in hand here. Very happy to have the Meathook Massacre for this matchup. Oh yeah, that is going to put in work here, because otherwise we are going to be getting shredded by these 2/2 Knights. Let's get a Gonti down. I don't like dropping Hostage Taker here, because Gonti's much better if they just have immediate removal. Ooh, Elite Spellbinder to slow them down, or Rahilda, because it's a better blocker with that first strike. It's both solid. Next turn we'll have 5 mana. That's not enough to do 2 things no matter what. But if we get to 6 mana, then maybe we could play a 4-drop and the 2-drop Rahilda. Actually, don't know here, because I do like Spellbinder's ability. Plus it's a flyer. Oh, we've got Shark Typhoon as a flyer. I'm going to take Rahilda. I'm going to take Rahilda because if we make it to 6 mana, that leads into a play where we get to play a 4-drop and 2-drop in the same turn. Plus Rahilda is, just as a first strike blocker, a better blocker than Paulo. Even though Paulo can block more creatures by having flying, Rahilda actually survives some blocks against smaller creatures with first strike. They are going to rip apart Gonti. Gonti is gone, and Robber of the Rich is the play, which will draw them a card out of our deck, which is Blood Artist. It's a pretty disgusting card from the hit. I think things are kind of lining up here to where we have to Meathook Massacre this turn, because if we Meathook Massacre later, they have a Blood Artist, right? Because they just attack with Robber of Rich and cast our Blood Artist. If we Meathook Massacre now, they're never going to attack. They're probably not going to attack with a Rogue again. Actually, it doesn't matter. Even if they attack with a Rogue, if Robber of the Rich isn't on the board when they do so, they can't cast that. So, yeah, we kind of have to Meathook Massacre here so they can't do the nonsense. Yeah. And might as well tap out. Gain a bunch of life, get back in this game. Definitely hoping to draw 1 land here. And then we are in the gas world. Gas land. Shadow Spear to put on Remcarless, make it a big flying lifelinker. We did not draw land here, which is very bad. We could Shark Typhoon to make a 3/3 flyer out of nowhere that is too small to beat a Remcarless that has a Shadow Spear on it. That is basically our only play anyway, unless I want to play Suspicious Stowaway and Rahilda, which I don't think I want to do. So I'm just going to hold up for the Shark Typhoon and really hope they don't equip Shadow Spear. If they do, we're going to have to just take that 3, and then we're still going to Shark Typhoon to draw the card, but we're not going to go for any blocks. Alright, well, we have to take the 3. Maybe it would have been better to Shark Typhoon. If I was convinced they were just going to equip Rim Careless, then it would have been better to Shark Typhoon just during our turn to try to hit the land that turn. But they had 2 or 3 other cards in their hand, so it was possible they just wanted to play more creatures rather than suiting up with Shadow Spear, so it was possible we could get the kill with the Shark Typhoon. So now what? Probably Garuda, but Hostage Shaker's fine. I'll go Garuda here. Hostage Shaker might be better because it's safer, but Garuda could be more explosive, and it certainly is. Ravenous Chupacabra. Beautiful. Okay. Electrostatic Blast our 3/3 while they still can, while Rem Careless is doing extra damage. But then we have 5 cards in hand to their 2. 2 creatures still on board, and that's going to be the concession from our opponent. Our opponent knows the score. We've got the card advantage, we've got the board state. They are not going to stick around. That is 2-0 now. Sand looks fine. Definitely a bit slow, but that happens when your deck is all even. Get our turn 2 Bankbuster. Another Boros deck here. Please don't have a Rip Apart to destroy our Bankbuster. Oh, that's a Cathar Commando to destroy our Bankbuster. Hit us for 3, then destroy Bankbuster? Oh no. Oh no. Dear Magic Arena, can I not play against Boros twice in a row? It is probably my worst matchup. This is very bad. I guess we're going to Price of Fame Adeline here. And that's about it. If I draw really well and I hit all black sources to get to this Massacre Room, then that will be pretty nice if we can survive that long. So yeah, stick to all black sources on top. Oh my god. Get a devil every turn, and when the devils die, they deal damage to any target. Give their whole board haste as well. They can give their whole board +1/+0 in haste. It's not looking great over here. Get a Flying Death Touch Lifelinker, I guess. And hope for no removal that deals 4 damage, so we can get some lifelink blocks off. And even if they use a removal spell, we still get to block with Bankbuster this turn at least, if they don't blow it up with Cathar Commando. Terror of the Peaks. It's not removal, but they can +1/+0 here, and that's huge. No, they're just gonna make a devil. They don't want to trade in the into the Death Toucher.
Formation.
1 damage to the Fiends here. Attack with Cathar Commando. Haha! Surprise crew! Alright. Now what? Can't kill Terror of the Peaks, so I guess... I don't know. If we can't kill Terror of the Peaks, what do? Agonizing Remorse? So make sure they don't have anything crazy in hand, I guess? Chart a Course to draw to? Yawgmoth's okay here. Agonizing Remorse, Chart a Course. Alright, get out of here, Seasoned Pyromancer. Meat Hook Massacre. We are digging. We are desperate here. 11 to 20. Need some lands. Macias off the top for 4 damage from Terror of the Peaks Enter the Battlefield effect. Literally agonizing remorse to make sure they didn't have a removal spell sized creature in hand. Now they just haste and we die. It's lethal on board. That might not be lethal anymore. 7, 8, 9, 10. No, it is. It's lethal either way, whether they put the counters or not. Well, that was a brutal top deck from our opponent. If we had one more turn, even if we don't hit the land for like Massacre Worm, we still get to slam down a Meat Hook Massacre and get rid of all the 1/1s. I guess if we did that, though, we would lose our flying lifelinker, so our play would probably be to go for an attack on their Planeswalker. So at least we get some life gain out of it and lower their Planeswalker and then go for Meat Hook Massacre. That was a rough one. We missed a couple land drops. We had the Massacre Worm in hand the whole time to really try to turn things back around. The Meat Hook Massacre as well could have turned things around, but didn't get what we needed as quickly as we needed it, and our opponent definitely did. That'll happen. 2-1 as we head into round 4. Hopefully not a third Boros deck. Mono black, get out of here. Okay, this is all 3 of our colors. We are going to be down a card now, but still looks pretty good. Got a lot of double black cards, not a ton of double blue. I think we can get rid of an island here, but it's probably safest to get rid of a mountain. We have more double blue cards than single red cards. Just get the Shipwreck Marsh out of the way. Might as well. Playing against red again. I already hate it. This could be sketchy against a red deck, but I'm going to start with turn 1 Dreadhorde Invasion, or turn 2 Dreadhorde Invasion. Alright, red-green. Hopefully some kind of multicolored splashy thing. We've drawn the Meat Hook Massacre again. We are very good at drawing that, which I'm certainly happy with, because it is one of the best cards in our deck. Do need to draw 1 land by turn 4 here. So far we have drawn no more lands. If we hit 1 land by turn 4, we get to play Atris, and whatever tricks our opponent thinks they're getting over us by setting it up to make it where we're just going to draw lands, we're going to be fine with that, because we only want to draw lands anyway. Come on, land, 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 land. No! Okay. I guess we're dropping an Old Priest. Lifelinking blocker for Lannery Storm. Am I playing it really safe as well, where I'm not attacking for 2 here, so that even if they blow up the Null Priest, I can still block trade with Lannery? Yeah, we're pretty low on life. I'm just going to play it massively safe here. Oh.
Where do you see my mate?
Domri's definitely concerning. Hopefully they don't play a creature big enough to win a fight. Alright, they won't be big enough to win a fight, that'll just trade. But they are drawing a card off of it, plus getting the mana ramp of being able to tap that for a green. And looks like our two power creatures are not enough to keep them from attacking here, so I'm just going to get the life gain off of this block. Ouch. We've drawn another 6-drop and not a land. I think we only have like 3 6-drops in the deck. It's looking pretty rough here. I'm pretty sure it's just a pass again. Kind of just predetermined turns here. Yeah, we have... well, we have more 6-drops than we had before. We have Commence the Endgame card, Shark Typhoon, Mask Worm, and Xanathar. We have 5. So a Braid on our zombie is going to be very bad for us. Because now it's just going to be a 1-1 on our next turn. Rebuilding it up, keeping us far away from making it lifelinker sized. Ooh, and Fable of the Mirror Breaker, one of the strongest cards in the entire cube. We've drawn another non-land, so we have to literally just pass the turn again. Looks like we're just getting handled here. Lasting longer than I thought we would. On average. Not casting any spells these last couple turns. There's Zerial again.
Expect to feel the full power of my wrath. Reinforcements will drive them back.
There's Karuga, that's like a draw 4. 5. Oh, because the Hedron Archive, I didn't count that. Fight our 1-1. Hit for 3. They're gonna get a Kiki Jiki. There's the land. Pretty much definitely too late now. Our opponent has basically 3 planeswalkers. 2 planeswalkers and a Kiki Jiki. I can still load up for a Meat Hook Massacre. That'll get rid of their Kiki Jiki, their Llanowar Visionary, their Goblin, and their 1-1. So we just wait for that next turn. We're still on Atris right now to draw more lands. Probably just die next turn because they can give everything haste with Zerial. And they just refilled their hand. That's an easy choose the lands. That was the easiest choice in my life. These lands are way more valuable than the Siphoner to me. I do have to discard a card now though. Yawgmoth maybe? Actually, maybe Gyruda. No, the counterspell. I'm never gonna have. If I somehow manage to stay in this time, if I somehow manage to stay in this game, I'm never gonna have time to hold up a counterspell. I am just always gonna have to be dealing with the board state, making sure I have blockers, dumping all my mana out during my turn. It's like 90% likely that we just die this turn, though. They just play like a couple big creatures and give everything haste. And then they can make a copy of the big creature. Oh yeah, incredibly dead. Incredibly dead. They could give a Drakuseth haste and that single-handedly kills me with Zerial. They're going to make it a 9/7 haste, and when it attacks it deals 4 damage to my face. That's 13 damage. I don't need to see the rest of it. I don't need to see the rest of it. 2-2 it is as we head into round 5. I'm actually going to make an adjustment to the deck here. This could be results-oriented thinking, but take another think about the amount of 6-drops we have in this deck. We have a 6-drop in our hand every single game because of Gyruda, and then we also have 5 more. So we do have a lot of 6-mana stuff, and we do really need to hit 4 mana on turn 4. Not hitting 4 mana on turn 4 is really painful. So I am going to cut 1 card for an 18th land here. I probably maybe should have been just playing 18 lands from the start with a mountain at 4. Because as you've seen in these last 2 rounds, missing on lands is really, really painful in this deck. Especially that last game. I think if we hit a land every single turn, we have a really good fighting chance because our hand was pretty good. But just if we don't hit 4 mana in this deck, we're just not casting anything because we have so many 4-drops and then 6-drops. So I'm going to put an 18th land into the deck. I'll just go 41 card special to make it easy. Put another island back in. But yeah, I probably should have been doing that from the start. Had some rough mana draws these last couple games. That could have been a contributor. Couldn't have been a massive contributor though, because it only would have gotten us realistically 1 more land. But that 1 more land gets us to the Atris sooner, which the Atris gets us to the next land or 2. So rough last couple games there. See how things go. Game 5. Kind of want to keep this hand. We don't have any 2-mana cards. It's not ideal, but we have the Meat Hook Massacre. If our opponent is aggressive again, and then if our opponent's not aggressive, then we don't need to worry that much that we're not doing anything in the early turns. Alright, blue, black, and white, so probably not aggressive here, I would assume. And then we got a 2-drop to play anyway, so we'll drop a Suspicious Stowaway. Very nice draw off the top for us. It's actually really, really good because our turn 3 we can very easily, we've got a good excuse to not cast a spell, which is to just put Gyruda in our hand, which will make it so the Suspicious Stowaway flips. Problem is they played Rafine, so now I kind of want to cast a spell and just kill that. So, yeah, let's not flip the Suspicious Stowaway, let's kill the Rafine. Ward 1, right? Yeah, Ward 1. So we can pay for that. And we surveil 2. I do want that mountain, I do want that Atris. Oh, because we have Suspicious Stowaway, this is good. We keep both. We keep both. And then Suspicious Stowaway lets us get rid of one of our more expensive cards like Karn's Temporal Sundering or something. So we know next turn we draw into the Atris, play Mountain, cast it. Actually, I might just go for Yawgmoth here, honestly. Yawgmoth's great when we have like Blood Artist, but we don't have expendable creatures in our hand here, so Yawgmoth isn't really going to do anything. Atris is going to do a lot though. Atris is going to draw the lands we need to get to 6 mana, hopefully. So our opponent is charting a course here, draw 2, discard 1. They've discarded their Blitz, Tenacious Underdog. And let's go Atris. And we're taking the land pile. We're taking the 2-card pile no matter what, because we have a Suspicious Stowaway, so that gives us more cards to filter through to whatever we need. So having 2 cards, having 2 mediocre cards is probably more valuable for us than having 1 really good card in hand. And lands are not mediocre, they're very good for us right now. Oh, it was 3 lands, so we could have 2 lands or 1 hidden land. Hit with the Stowaway, see what we draw into. If we hit a 7th land, we'll discard a land, and if we don't, we'll see what it is. Agonize Remorse, I'll discard that. I'm not going to spend mana on that anytime soon. Could exile their Underdog, but I doubt they're just tapping out for Underdog these next few turns. They're Esper. Probably need to hold their mana up for control spells and stuff, like Price of Fame. Ayo the Dawn Sky. Ayo. That is... That's a thing. That's for sure. We can Meat Hook Massacre for 3, that doesn't kill it. We can 3 Weird Sisters, make each player sack a creature, but then they get to look at the top 7, put a card that costs 4 or less onto the battlefield. But any number that costs 4 or less onto the battlefield. Oh my god, yeah, we don't really have an ideal way to deal with that right now. Just put Gyruda in hand, get ready to flip Stowaway, and then maybe just Temporal Sundering it to their hand eventually. Okay, now we got way more than enough lands, so we'll start discarding islands. The Seafaring Werewolf is ready. The 2/1 that just draws us a card every time it hits our opponent, and is still unblockable. If our opponent casts 2 spells this turn, which looks likely when they cast Mentor of the Meek, then it'll flip back. Okay, we're getting hit for 5 by Ao. And then Dennek is the 2nd spell. Cards in graveyards can't be charged with spells or abilities. That's fine, I think. Okay. Now we're setting up for a Karn's Temporal Sundering. We need to have a legendary on the board to do it, so we need them to not kill Gyruda. So we need to cast Gyruda and find something threatening enough that they won't kill Gyruda. Or I could just Meat Hook Massacre for 4. I mean, that's fine. But I like setting up, maybe getting the Temporal Sundering play. If it's not going to pan out, then we can... If it's not going to pan out, then we can still Meat Hook Massacre. So hopefully they can't kill this hostage taker. Alright, I feel really good about exiling Ao the Dawn Sky. Oh my I don't love sitting here paying life right now, so I'm going to get rid of the Dreadhorde Invasion. I can use this land. It's my land for turn next turn. Make my Meathook Massacre bigger in case they play something with 5 toughness or anything. Angel of Invention. Alright, Meathook Massacre is going to be the stone cold business here. However, if I do that, I will blow up my Hostage Taker, and if I blow up my Hostage Taker, they'll get the Dawn Sky back. So, are we instead... Karn's Temper Sundering right now. Or we're just on Massacre Worm. You know what? Massacre Worm kind of kills everything but Dennick. We're just on Massacre Worm. The one-sided Meathook Massacre. Very different kind of massacre here. But still a big one. Oh, are they just dead? No. They're barely alive. They're at like 3 life. Yeah, they're at straight up 3 life. Yeah, Massacre Worm is nuts. That is such a card. Xanathar, you're big and slow. Get out of here. Alright, there's the concession. 3 and 2. Absolutely explosive stuff. A really good hit off of Gyruda there. To get that Dawn Sky off of their board, and then luckily they just played pretty well into cards like Meathook Massacre. And then we drew Massacre Worm, which was even better. Super happy. That could have went a lot more poorly if they had the removal in hand for the Hostage Taker. So pretty lucky there. Alright, this hand looks pretty good. Got multiple 2-drops this time around. And we of course have the big old Meathook, the Massacre Worm. Both of the Massacres. If there's anything you want to learn from this video, is that Massacre is good. Massacre everything. I wonder if Massacre Girl is in this cube. Probably not. It'd be a little too much Massacre to go around. Playing against white and green, we're going to drop that turn 2 Blood Artist. And then if they don't play a creature next turn, I'm attacking with a 0/1 to draw 2 cards off Chart of Course without having to discard. Yeah! Blood Artist is going to get in there. Let's go. I am all for that. Get in there, Blood Artist. Yeah! So now we get to draw 2 cards, and then we don't discard a card because we attacked this turn. Alright, don't really need either of these. They're both equally important, so it doesn't really matter which we play right now. Restoration of a Gondra is going to pop off here. Let them discard a land, put it into play tapped. Give them some nice ramp. Or if they have a good mana value 2 or less card, play something that isn't a land. But yeah, Restoration of a Gondra is pretty sweet. It's going to ramp you up a mana, and then it's going to give you a 3/4 that just keeps spitting out 1/1s. Pretty sweet, pretty powerful card. Charming Prince, scrying 2. I like Yawgmoth Blood Artist here. We kind of need Yawgmoth Blood Artist Dreadhorde Invasion to really pop off. But, does seem good. Does seem good. So we're probably just dropping Yawgmoth this turn. I guess we could play Stowaway and Dreadhorde Invasion. That way we have a zombie at the ready, so that on turn 5 we just play Yawgmoth. That also seems fine to me. I think I will do that. Stowaway, Dreadhorde Invasion, and then next turn when we play Yawgmoth, we already have 3 other creatures on the board to potentially sacrifice. Now, 2 of them we don't want to sacrifice. We don't really want to sacrifice Stowaway, and we really don't want to sacrifice Blood Artist. But we can. Oh no. Oh no. Mirari's Wake against the blue-black deck that does not have enchantment removal. That is very bad. All their creatures are +1/+1, and their mana is double, which means next turn they can cast anything that they can think of to their heart's content. We've got the Tibalt red source, so we will have a Tibalt on turn 7. If we can make it there, we can Massacre Worm next turn, but because of Mirari's Wake, it won't kill Charming Prince. It will kill the 1/1s they make off the Architect of Restoration. Yawgmoth's protection from humans is useful here as a blocker against Charming Prince, so even if they buffed or anything, we're blocking all day. And then we could block with protection and sack the thing. Yeah. I don't think we're actually hitting with Stowaway here. We're just playing it really safe. But possible we just die here. They can just play a land, tap 12 mana, play the Finale for X equals 10, search up any creature from their deck, and give their whole board +10/+10 till end of turn. If they have any of those X mana spells, we are gone with the Mirari's Wake on board. Vorinclex, Monstrous Raider. So any counters they get are going to be doubled in the future, and they're going to cultivate. So luckily it looks like just mainly a bunch of mana ramp in hand. The Vorinclex is bad, but it isn't immediate lethal, so it gives us a small chance to get enough Blood Artist triggers to survive a couple swings here. Alright, this is really bad, actually. We probably don't survive 2 turns. So next turn we're going to be on Massacre Worm. I would need to give Architect of Restoration -3/-3 to kill it here. I would only need to give Charming Prince -1/-1, blocking it with Yawgmoth. So we block there to stop all that damage. We block there, sack the 1/1 to give Charming Prince -1/-1. We kill Charming Prince with Yawgmoth. We take 7. We could probably survive 2 swings. Depends on what they play next turn, but this seems like we can probably survive 2 swings. And we're going to draw a card here, which is definitely good. Wait, what happened? Oh, we can't put... Vorinclex makes it so we can't put counters on things? Well, still better to draw the card when we make the chump block. Never mind. If we can't put counters on things, Vorinclex actually probably does seal it. Because I can't put counters on the 0/0s either. Oh my god, Vorinclex. Actually the stone cold nuts in this matchup. I can't put counters on the Shark Typhoon thing either. We put half as many counters is how it works. Here's a Massacre Worm to kill your 1 creature, and that's, I think, literally the best play I have. I can spend all my mana into a Shark Typhoon to get a 2/2 flying shark. Yeah, it's Massacre Worm to kill 1 thing. But now I have enough power on board to threaten to double block Vorinclex, so maybe that keeps it off my back. It probably won't, but maybe. Oh no, Tristani Discordant. Field gets an additional +1/+1 now, so it's all +2/+2. And Huntmaster? They had 2 more cards that are straight gas to play after last turn where they spent 10 mana. They had 11 mana worth of cards still to play here. Yeah. Mirari's Wake, just too explosive for us. Gonna be a 3/3 draft this time around. Which is pretty sad, because I like this deck a lot. Again, I think our last 2 rounds were very, very rough draws. This one we just got straight up, I mean, straight outclassed by this opposing deck. And you can only kill 1 of these. And we can stop all that damage. And Yawgmoth isn't particularly useful right now when I can't put counters on things anyway. They're going to kill Massacre Worm, so then Yawgmoth can actually maybe do things. Want to draw a card off of Suspicious Stowaway or gain a life off of it? Drawing a card off of it makes it so maybe we can play Tybalt. Although we can actually Null Priest of Oblivion the Massacre Worm next turn. That might be our play. Yeah, I don't think I need to draw a card. Let's gain a life. any way Null Priest of Oblivion on Massacre Worm can get us anywhere here? They don't have anything small enough unless I sacrifice something to Yawgmoth. Now I get counters again, though. So now I would need to put 3 -1/-1 counters on Tristani Discordant. But then if I can get 3 -1/-1 counters on Tristani Discordant, then I can get Massacre Worm to actually kill them. Did we just win out of nowhere? Actually, no. Yeah, we can put 3 counters on Tristani Discordant. That'll make their creatures small enough that they actually die. And then the Massacre Worm triggers start going brr. They're at 8, and they're going to lose 1, 2, 3, 4 more creatures. That's 8 life if we kill 4 more creatures here. 9 life because Blood Artist triggers on itself dying. Oh my god, the Massacre Worm triggers. Oh, get that Mirari's Wake out of here. Oh, I was literally doing my end of video spiel there about the performance of the deck overall. And then the cogs started spinning in my mind of Massacre Worm with this Yawgmoth, make the Tristani Discordant die to make the 1/1s only 2/2s to where they're small enough to actually have died to that -2/2. Oh my god. Incredible, incredible stuff from Massacre Worm and Null Priest of Oblivion in conjunction. Looks like it's not going to be a 3-3 run now, so I will definitely be happy with this deck's performance at least 4 wins instead of just another 3-3 run here. So, wow, incredible end to that game. I am elated right now. Let's see if we can keep that up as we head into round 7. Gonna keep this hand. We have our Stowaway to get us looting in the early game. We can double Agonizing Remorse pretty cheaply with the Cyba Siphoner if we hit another blue source, which Stowaway helps hit. And then, of course, we have our what seems to be our best late game play, Massacre Worm, which is the nuts. And we have drawn the second island for the Cyba Siphoner. So I could even just go Agonizing Remorse, Cyba Siphoner, Agonizing Remorse instead of dropping Stowaway right now, which we've got 4 lands already, so we don't really need to be filtering our hand draws right now. So yeah, let's go Agonizing Remorse and see what's going on with their deck. Parallel Lives, Heliod, Battle Screech. Whole lot of not much right now. I guess we just let them get Heliod out, or we just get rid of Heliod so they don't have a turn 3 play. Heliod doesn't really do anything by itself, though. If we get rid of Battle Screech, their hand does nothing. So I'm just going to get rid of Battle Screech. You can have a Heliod for now. Fine with it. We're going to Cyba Siphoner. I guess we're letting them get a Parallel Lives here, which could be concerning, but when we have Massacre Worm in hand, we actually kind of want them to pop off with Parallel Lives. I should have... Yeah, now that I think of that, I should have gotten rid of Heliod. Not because it's the most powerful card. I'm not that worried about Heliod until they get a lot more other action going. But because I actually want them to Parallel Lives Battle Screech so that I just hit them for a million with Massacre Worm. But it is really nice to be able to get rid of the flashback card with your exile card, so you know they don't get to cast it. But this was a world where we kind of actually maybe wanted them to cast it. And that is the problem. So let's get our Stowaway out. Actually, we'll do our Agonizing Remorse first. Then we'll get our Stowaway out. Ooh, get out of here, Angel. Once again, I could have Massacre Wormed for big, but we are far enough away from triple black that Angel of Invention actually probably just kills us with the Parallel Lives out. Because we need 2 more black sources to get to Massacre Worm. Alright, well now they have straight up nothing. Heliod doesn't do anything, Parallel Lives doesn't do anything until they draw another card. We just sit here and keep hitting them. Slowly drawing cards off Bankbuster. Definitely got the lead here by a lot, thanks to double Agonizing Remorse off Cyba Siphoner. As soon as they draw something that makes tokens, it's going to be massive. But there's the 3rd black for Massacre Worm, so really lucky draws for us. Could commence the endgame at instant speed. But I think I just want a Garuda. See where we're going. Ooh, Restoration Angel. Well, goodbye, 2/2 Cyber Siphoner. Let's Garuda and see what's going on. What do we mill? We milled a Hostage Taker. They milled Captain Sisse. I would rather play Hostage Taker. Hostage Taker? Restoration Angel? Does that work how I want it to, where I cast Restoration Angel, flicker my Hostage Taker, and just steal their next creature? I think it does. I'm pretty sure it does. That's actually insane. Restoration Angel, Hostage Taker. Yeah, they're just going to scoop them up. They're over it. They're over it. That's why I'm not a big fan of cards like Parallel Lives and what's the other one? The white one. Anointed Procession. Not a huge fan of those kind of cards in Limited. They are super sweet in Commander because you can definitely take a turn off and not worry about not doing anything. But in Cube, it's like you have to take a turn off to play them. And if you don't have your token production alongside them, then you're just kind of down a card or two in the game. So that was what my thought processing was with how I chose my Agonizing Remorse in that game. Was like Heliod and Parallel Lives, they're both like enablers that don't actively do anything by themselves. So if we can just get rid of their only card that actually does something, then it's possible that they just don't draw the cards that synergize with those. And then they're just completely out of things to do. Then they've just cast basically nothing all game, and that's kind of how it worked out for us. So definitely worked out well the way I chose to do the Agonizing Remorses, so I'm happy about that. But there was definitely an argument to do it the other way and just try to set up a pretty sick Massacre Worm. All right, we're on the play here. Only 2 lands, but we are an 18 land deck, and we have Suspicious Stowaway to draw a card, discard a card every turn. That card has played really well for us. It's been very nice to be looting throughout the turns. Because again, we are a deck that really needs to hit every land drop it can until like turn 7. So having the Stowaway dig for more is excellent for us. A little worried that our opponent's starting with a Shatter Skull Smashing means they're just going to blow up our Stowaway. But if they blow up our Stowaway, then we know that they're not playing a creature this turn and getting aggressive. Looks like a 3rd Boros deck potentially here. Alright, they are going to blow up the Stowaway. But again, that means they're not playing a creature this turn. So not the worst thing in the world. Pass the Torch is really, really, really good though. It's a very interesting card. They pass the torch onto a creature in their hand, and then when that creature in their hand hits us, they get pass the torch back from the grave to the hand. And then when they cast it again, they pass the torch onto another creature in their hand. So on and so forth. So I'm going to hope they can't blow up our Reckoner Bankbuster, but let's be honest, there's a Braid, Rip Apart, all that kind of stuff in this cube. Dropped a Young Pyromancer. Uncool. If I Hostage Taker that, they are definitely blowing up Hostage Taker. They only do 2 damage with Pass the Torch, so they need another burn spell in hand. They need a 3 damage burn spell, but they probably have it. You know what? Worst case scenario, they do have the 3 damage burn spell. We've still stopped them from getting an elemental out of it, so we've made them lose some of their value. Just solid. And again, it slows them down. Instead of making their board bigger and threatening us in the early game, they're having to spend their time just casting removal spells, which gives us more time to get the lands we need to play our big, impactful spells. If we can just get this game to where it goes late game against like a Boros aggro deck, then we're probably in the lead. That being said, they just played an Irrigated Farmland, which makes us want to reconsider things that they might be just a Jeskai Spells deck, in which case they do still have a pretty powerful late game as well. If I Price of Fame here, I can make sure I hit my 6th land, but then I won't have Garuda in hand anyway. But I also make sure they don't have 1/1s, make sure the board stays clear. Yeah, I should probably make sure the board stays clear here. No! I like these cards. I like them a lot, and I can't keep them. We'll just draw our Null Priest of Oblivion. It'll be cool. Now our Null Priest of Oblivion has a ton of targets. Oh no. Oh no. Freet Flame Painter is a big issue. They get to cast spells from grave for free, pass the torch and Lightning Helix, and put Lightning Helix into their hand. Oh wait, no, it casts it when it hits us. Yes, they cast it from the grave, and then they pass the torch onto something in hand, and then they also... So I guess the first time it hits us, just cast Pass and Lightning Helix. Well... I guess I can block with a 4/4 Reckoner Bankbuster here. Out of nowhere. Commence the endgame makes a 3/3, which crews Bankbuster as a 4/4, and then we block their 1/4 double strike with a 4/4. If they have burn, they got us. If they have burn left in hand, then they've got us. But if they don't, then we've kind of got them. It's going to be a huge trick here. Surprise 4/4 blocker. Kill your 1/4 double striker with all those abilities. Oh yeah, that was huge. They did not have the burn in hand to finish off the Bankbuster. Excellent. Excellent work from Commence the Endgame being an instant there. They can fight with fire to finish off the Bankbuster out of spite and rage, but it doesn't change too much here. 5/6, get a 7th land, and then we chart a course, draw a card. Or draw 2 cards. Wow, we just kind of have the setup here. Agonizing Remorse and a Tybalt coming up? Not that worried about their 1 card in hand. That could be wrong. But I guess we'll find out. I think I would rather start making this zombie bigger to where it might get lifelink. I guess we'll never know, because if they play some big powerful spell, it could be something they just drew this turn. If they don't play anything good, then we know it was right to not Agonizing Remorse, but I don't know. Alright, if they're leading with Tezzeret's Gambit, probably wasn't a big deal. Whatever was in their hand. Alright. Tybalt time or Gyruda time? Both are great. If we go for a Gyruda time, you know what? Let's, if I go for Gyruda time, I can Agonizing Remorse and Gyruda. So I'll do that, now that they have 2 cards in hand to choose from. And one's Velmaka's Lorehold. Yeah, please get out of there. Great showing from Agonizing Remorse today. Card's been popping off. Nothing in their grave. What do we have? Yawgmoth and the 3 Weird Sisters. I like the 3 Weird Sisters a little better here. Draw some extra cards and then start getting some life gain swings. Board state looks really good for us. We even know their hand is just a plains. They need to draw very well to get out of this. Ral's a start. If they draw like Crackle with Power, they might be able to kill us out of nowhere. But we can play Temporal Sunring. Now we've got 2 legendaries on board, so I think we have it in the bag with a Temporal Sunring in hand. Temporal Sunring into Tybalt. Gonna be obnoxiously good. I'll take an extra turn. I will return one of these tokens. And then transform. We have the 3 mana to buff. Oh, I need to do that. Oh, I can't buff this till it has lifelink, so I can't get a lifelink swing out of that. No, I think I just kill them with 2 attacks to their face. We just double attack their face here, and they're just dead. We don't need to worry about Ral and all that. Yeah, they're at 12 life and then no blockers. So that is game. All right. We're 6-2 now. That was a really, really quick turnaround from thinking that it was all over at 3-3. We were 3-2. Really looked like we were going to lose on board. And then we've just flipped it into a 6-2 in like 5 seconds. Now we're up 1,000 gold. Really great draft this time around. Really swingy one. Really fun stuff. And I am loving the even mana cost deck. See if we can get a 7-win run out of this deck as we head into the final round, win or lose. Here we are in the final game of Magic for the day. It's going to be a rough one. Our opponent has a companion as well, Lutri the Spell Chaser, the free companion where they didn't have to go for any deck restrictions to play it. Lutri Lutri can work as your companion as long as you have just one of every card in your deck, which is always the case in Cube. So that means they have a full power deck in there plus a companion, whereas we have, obviously there are some very powerful odd mana costs that we'd like to play in here, but we've avoided doing that to consistently have Gyruda. So we don't have as big of a companion, or we don't have any of the companion lead that we usually have this time around. I'm just going to grab a blue source off this Fabled Passage, I think. Well, we might not need it. Just play Haunted Edge. Haunted Ridge. Okay, yeah, we did draw a blue source now. So potentially save Fabled Passage in case we draw into a Massacre Worm or something. We'll need a triple black. Third black source. Grixis. So kind of the mirror match here. We're mainly just blue-black, just a mirror. They start by just putting Lutri into their hand. Can Agonizing Remorse them now? Because I don't really want to Null Priest them when we don't have anything engraved to bring back off of Null Priest. I could just put Gyruda in hand right now, though. Seems like a fine time to do that. Sure. Play the copycat game here. Just put our Gyruda in hand. Turn 4 from our opponent. They were on the play here. Ral Storm Conduit, which can absolutely
hold this lightning rod,
pop off and just do absolutely ridiculous things if they have a good instant or sorcery in hand to double. So I'm pretty committed to just an Agonizing Remorse next turn. And hit Ral for 2, probably. Fetid Pools is the draw. We don't need 4 mana here, so we'll probably play that as our land for turn. Let's see what we're Agonizing Remorsing. Oh dear. Oh my god. Shatterskull Smashing, Fire Prophecy are both great cards to double up. Nice cheap removal. There's Nicol Bolas, which is their big win condition, it looks like here. And then there's Lutri, which also doubles things up. They have Furious to clear the board. I think I have to get rid of Nicol Bolas here, but Ral can do some really terrifying things that are going to be really bad for us. You definitely don't want to put more creatures on this board, because that just makes it way easier for them to choose to double Fire Prophecy or single cast a Furious or anything like that and get a 2-for-1 on us.
Creature plus supercharged energy equals.
I guess if they Bolas, we have Hostage Taker to deal with Bolas, but then they blow up our Hostage Taker and get Bolas back again and make us discard a second card. So yeah, Bolas would be disastrous for us, even if we attempted to Hostage Taker it or something. We could Meat Hook Massacre it, but it would take a little while. Probably too long. We've got our double blue, we've got our triple black now. I should probably just crack this Fabled Passage at this point to make it less likely to draw more lands, because they don't really need more than 6 or 7. Ooh, Gonti. Gonti gives us a great option to play this turn. I really wasn't sure what I was going to do if I didn't draw that, but now I'll just try to attack Ral, probably get Fire Prophesied, and then drop a Gonti. And we'll play Fabled Passage this turn, I suppose. But I could still just save Fabled Passage that way. Whenever I want to cast multiple spells in one turn, I can figure out exactly what mana I need to do so. But we have 2 dual lands here. Pretty even amounts of each color, so it's pretty unlikely. We really need to pull a specific color out later. Now they're going to double Fire Prophecy with the Loot Tree. Yep. Man, Rel is real powerful when he gets going off. He just gets so much, oh my god, Mizzix's Mastery? That's gonna kill us if it ever happens. All of these are really powerful and really bad for us. Slumgar's Command's really good against them right now because we get to get rid of Ral, so we probably have to take this, but I really don't like this. It's just gonna go right back on bottom of their library and they might be able to Mizzix's Mastery us later. But pretty sure we have to take Slumgar's Command and try to get this Ral off the board, because Ral, the +2, pretty hard to kill Ral with our 3/3 things we've been going for. They have a fresh new hand of 4 cards. Actually, no, everything just got flipped face down because we don't know what they put on bottom to draw a different card off of. We know they had Fast and Furious. They might have kept, but might have gotten rid of because it doesn't look like we're about to put 1,000 creatures on board or anything. They had Shatter Skull Smashing. They probably still have Shatter Skull Smashing. That is probably the only card I can think of that's like 100% still in their hand. Double red X. Deal X divided as they choose. Or it's like X to 2 things once they do 6 or more. Something like that. It's going to kill 2 creatures, definitely. Even if they don't copy it. Kaito Shizuki was one of the draws. It's a powerful one. Draw a card if they attack with a creature this turn.
There are many secrets I don't know, but not for long.
They have to discard a card if they didn't attack.
Something you don't know.
Kind of just getting rolled by planeswalkers right now. Just incremental value. I guess we could still wait till our turn to crack this, but so used to cracking Evolving Wilds because I'm a limited player. Oh, the common version of Fabled Passage, the peasant version. We are most likely on Slumgar's Command to get rid of Ral, so we know we're not just going to get double crackled with Powered here or anything. Yep, do that while they don't have blue mana.
I guess there's no way to change what just happened.
And we pass. And now they have to be using burn spells that actually damage us, instead of just having Ral chip away at us over and over and over again.
Thanks. I'll be taking that.
Kaito's going to keep setting up their draws, though. Draw, discard, digging for the win conditions, which they've got a lot of cards in hand, so probably getting pretty close. Thief of Sanity is the play. Probably Hostage Taker, that's... Although, if our opponent has instant speed burn in hand, they can blow up Hostage Taker before we get to cast Thief of Sanity and get it right back. Tap out for Guardian Idol, 1 red mana. It has to be like Lightning Bolt in hand, and I doubt it is. I doubt it's Lightning Bolt in hand, because it's probably like Shatter Skull Smashing, I would assume. Oh, we can't even cast it immediately anyway. Because we don't have 7 mana, we have 6. So I guess we're just Massacre Worm to kill it instead. Could an Old Priest get Gaunty back, but then we're still worried about the Thief. Yeah, Massacre Worm to kill it. Get out of here, Thief. I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you in this place no more. Do want to get rid of Kaito. Some chip damage on Kaito.
I feel bad for your mentor.
Could attack their face because Massacre Worm can single-handedly kill Kaito next turn, and we're definitely going to go for the kill on Kaito next turn. But this way, if they blow up Massacre Worm with their Shatter Skull Smashing or something, Kaito is still a bit lower. Maybe they just got rid of everything in hand. Maybe it is all completely hidden information. We don't know what's in there. It's not the cards that we had seen in the past. Yeah, there's Vraska's Contempt to get rid of Massacre Worm. If it were Shadow Skull Smashing, they probably would have done it. Because the Vraska's Contempt can exile too. Oh, Guardian Idol can hit us. That's a problem. Probably should have realized that sooner. Maybe I have to hostage take the Guardian Idol. Alright, draw a card off Kaito Shizuki. We are pretty low. I hate that they exiled the Massacre Worm. That's so rough. No Priest would have been sweet if they didn't. Although I guess Massacre Worm doesn't kill the Guardian Idol because it won't be a creature during our turn. Okay. We have 7 mana now. Getting really close to just dying to lightning bolts. Am I just on Hostage Taker Guardian Idol? I really don't want to just tap out for Gyruda. I guess I can tap out for Gyruda and just not attack with the 3/3. It's definitely more impactful than Hostage Taker Guardian Idol. We milled nothing from them. We milled the 3 Weird Sisters for us. I would really not like to lose another life here. I'm going to transform this to a life linker. We milled Ribbons. No, you can't. Oh. Live by the sword, die by the sword. Ribbons to make us lose 6 life. It just kills us here. No matter what. Gave exactly enough too. Just ribbons for 6. Oh, that's so rough. Really felt like we were getting into the realm of stabilizing there. Or we had like a pretty great hand. We know they didn't, but Dreadhorde Invasion just too painful in this matchup. This more controlling kind of matchup where they've just been doing so much chip damage to us. Dang. Yeah, maybe that's a game we could have won if we didn't draw Dreadhorde Invasion. We've just played other spells. Ribbons to finish it off. A fitting end. And still a pretty great run for this deck here. 6 and 3. Pretty great run overall. Really, really happy with this deck's performance. All of the cards inside it were super sweet. We'll go with one quick rundown before I end the video on overperformers and underperformers. I guess we never got to cast Tybalt, so that'd be an underperformer, but Tybalt is super sweet. Xanathar was a huge underperformer. We had it in hand multiple times, and it was just like, we have better things to do that are going to immediately impact the board, and at 6 mana, we kind of need to immediately impact the board. I felt that way a bit when I drafted it, where I was like, well, I mean, we're in the color pair, whatever, we can play around with it, but really did not have an opportunity where it was like, yeah, let's go Xanathar. Just felt like it was always going to be way too slow. Even Shark Typhoon actually underperformed a little bit as well. I don't think we ever cast that card. So in that sense, Commence the Endgame was a huge overperformer, actually. Just drawing 2 and getting a relatively large creature out was always pretty impactful. And it was incredibly good when we got to use it alongside the Bankbuster to kill their Double Striker out of nowhere. That was like really, really good. Massacre Worm was the best card in the whole deck. Biggest overperformer, massive win condition in games that we had no right winning, where our opponent had massive board states and most of them were much bigger than 2/2s, but we just managed to stack it up alongside like Yawgmoth and stuff to finish some games off. That was incredible, along with Blood Artist as well. It really chips in so quickly, so that was phenomenal. I think everything else did pretty solid. But not like a massive over or underperformer. Meathook Massacre was kind of sitting in our hand as a dead card a couple times, but it was also very important at a couple other times. This was right in the middle there. But yeah, Massacre Worm, biggest overperformer. Xanathar, biggest underperformer. Definitely would take Massacre Worm incredibly, incredibly highly now. Xanathar, probably getting towards the last pick in terms of when I would take it. Well, let's see our rewards here as we log off for the day. We get a Gadrick Stonecoil Serpent and Firemine Vessel on 5,000 gold. Pretty sweet rewards here out of this Chromatic Cube draft run, and a really fun run altogether. But that is going to end today's video. As always, if you want to see some more of these videos, you can like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send you some more. And once again, as always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.